Today we're going to watch why the Tesla Cybertruck failed to maintain its hype. Saw this video posted from CNBS when doing some regular searches and thought this would be great to watch together. Now, spoiler alert, if you don't want to know how this movie ends, I can tell you. So skip ahead about 30 seconds if you don't want to hear why the Tesla Cybertruck quote-unquote failed to maintain its hype. Spoiler alert, Tesla was not, at least at this point, able to get the cost down low enough to make it within the reach of your average truck buyer. Meaning, it's too much of a stretch for most people. Now, admittedly, there's been an enormous amount of inflation since Tesla was originally unveiling their intended specs and pricing. We had the scamdemic, followed by the futile, fascist, inhumane, and completely insane lockdowns, followed by absolutely bonkers financial stimulus, causing runaway inflation. Even so, Tesla wasn't quite able to achieve their intended pricing v specs on Cybertruck. That's the core reason it's not selling anywhere near as many units as I personally would have expected, and likely Tesla too. So, I do have a few predictions for this video, which I haven't watched, could be wrong, but I'll leave this in regardless. I suspect CNBS will probably have found a few Tesla Cybertruck owners who've had one or two issues. They'll probably also point out the extremely unusual appearance. They'll also probably suggest that Elon bad, therefore Tesla bad, therefore who wants to be seen in a Cybertruck? They probably won't, although I'd be happily surprised if they do, mention the massive amount of publicity, marketing, interest the Cybertruck generated for Tesla in and of itself, even if they sold zero of these things. The amount of attention that Cybertruck got and continues to get brings eyeballs to Tesla. That truck's uglier than my girlfriend. Oh, wait, what's the Model Y? Yeah, actually, that might be a good vehicle for us. Purchase. By the way, I would actually lump together the Cybertruck, the Model X and the Model S as totally unnecessary products that Tesla produces and sells to consumers. Not that they should stop, although if they did, it really wouldn't make a difference to the company financially. They're a great place to debut new technology, new architecture. For example, Cybertruck, steer-by-wire, 48-volt system, big changes. And eventually, some of those features, specifications, find their way into Tesla's mainstream products, Model 3, Model Y. Tesla's automotive business is entirely carried today by just two products, the Model 3 and the Model Y. And Model Y itself, accounting for, give or take, let's just call it 2/3, maybe 3/4 of all those vehicle sales. So the Model Y is essentially carrying Tesla. Add in the Model 3 and it's done and dusted. S3, you got the ultra high-end version that eventually drip feeds some features down to the 3, that's the S. And the X, same story for the Model Y. We've just heard recently the Model Y extended XL, a 6-seater. But as I record this, Tesla does not yet have a mass market pickup truck with a mass market price. Will they? Won't they? Who knows? Just keep in mind though, with the Robotaxi fleet scaling rapidly, Tesla's vehicle sales are about to become an irrelevant sideshow.
The Tesla Cybertruck. In a country where pickup trucks are half of the top 10 selling vehicles, making an electric one seemed like a no-brainer. At the time the pickup debuted, Tesla was already making the world's best-selling EV.
To solve sustainable energy, we have to have a pickup truck.
The truck's design certainly provoked a range of opinions, some loving it, others...
I thought it was a joke.
But in terms of performance and capability...
By the way, not sure if you guys caught that, but the caption under the guy who just said, I thought it was a joke, said Cybertruck owner.
Tesla was making big promises.
How does this compare to a Porsche 911?
At first, it looked like customer interest would be as impressive as the truck's specs.
Demand is off the charts. We have over 1 million people who have reserved the car.
But just a fraction of the more than 1 million reservation holders have actually made a purchase. There's been plenty of reports of trucks piling up on lots.
Tesla has a tendency to drastically overpromise, and it's starting to catch up with the company.
There have been recalls and canceled plans that have angered customers. Despite all this, some owners say the truck is great.
I really like the way it looks. I like the way it drives. For the most part, I would buy it again.
So what went wrong? CNBC dove in to find out.
And as I said in the intro, number one, cost to produce, which flows into purchase price for consumers, which is out of reach of most. Amazing vehicle if you can afford it.
Elon Musk had been talking about making some kind of a Tesla truck since at least 2012.
For most of the last decade, the three best-selling vehicles in America have been full-size pickup trucks. It's the Ford F-150, the Chevrolet Silverado, and the Ram 1500. So if the industry's going electric, it's not ridiculous to think that full-size trucks need to go electric.
I present to you the Cybertruck.
True. Oh, and should we take a quick detour? After all, F-150 essentially the best-selling vehicle in the US forever, year after year. So you'd think if the world was going electric, it is. Ford would have released an electric F-150. They did have aggressively ramped production. They didn't, and be selling hundreds of thousands per year, which they're not. 2024, Q3, in the US, Ford sells a whopping 7,162 F-150 Lightnings, which, by the way, is up a lot over Q3 of 2023. Roughly half that amount at 3,503. Also worth noting that Cybertruck is meaningfully outselling Ford's electric F-150 Lightning, the most well-known pickup brand on earth, F-150, being outsold by the moving triangle. A little bit of context goes a long way.
Cybertruck.
I thought it was a joke. I thought they were going to pull out the real truck after they showed this thing, and I'm just like, okay, no, really. And the show kept going on, and I'm like, oh, that's it. Oh my God.
Initially, when I saw it, I love the stainless steel look. I'm a DeLorean fan. I'm a Back to the Future fan. So that was striking enough, and I was like, oh yeah, I never had a chance to get a DeLorean.
Tesla's advertised specifications bested those of longtime market leaders. Up to 14,000 pounds of towing power, 500 more than the top-selling Ford F-150. A 3,500-pound payload capacity, about 1,000 more than the Ford truck. A top 0 to 60 time under 3 seconds, faster than many sports cars. It's important to mention that this is comparing the Cybertruck specs advertised at the 2019 reveal with the specs of a 2025 Ford F-150. Initially, Tesla said the truck would start at $39,900. As of July 2025, it started at $62,490. The max towing capacity on the Cyberbeast, the top trim, is 11,000 pounds, 3,000 short of the promised 14. The most payload any version gets is 2,270 pounds on the tri-motor version with all-terrain tires. That's less than the promised 3,500. 1 month before Tesla began deliveries, Musk said over 1 million people had placed reservations. But since deliveries began in November 2023, only 52,000 units have sold in the US. In Q3 2024, they peaked at nearly 17,000 units. For a time, it was the best-selling electric pickup. From there, sales fell.
With a lot of EVs, we see people place a reservation that never turns into an order, and it's often because the price of a reservation is very low. But Tesla told everyone this niche was absolutely enormous, and it's relatively small.
Reports document.
Fact check. We know the pickup market is absolutely enormous. We heard earlier, F-150, basically the best-selling vehicle year after year after year for almost a century in the US. There's a big market. The challenge, as I mentioned earlier, is price. Now, we heard July, give or take $60,000 US for an entry-level Cybertruck. Entry-level Model Y, which is, just remind me again, what number is it on the world's list of best-selling vehicles in 23 and 24 and this year? Oh wait, it's number 1. It starts around $40,000 US. The difference in entry-level starting price for a vehicle can be the difference between selling a few tens of thousands of units per year if you're lucky, and over 1 million.
Documenting the challenges started to roll in. There were shortened production shifts, Tesla telling Cybertruck line workers to stay home, sometimes for a few days at a time. The company started offering potential customers lifetime free supercharging on Foundation Series Cybertrucks, a special first edition of the truck that originally cost about $100,000. By January 2025, Tesla was offering discounts.
They're not going to sell anywhere close to 1 million trucks.
So what went wrong?
It fell short of the projected range. It fell short of the projected payload capacity. It fell short of the projected towing capacity. It fell short of the projected speed, and it fell way short of the projected price. It's far more expensive than they had said in the first place.
So price again is the big one. Most people, most of the specs, more than enough, if not complete overkill. But again, we come down to price. So today, as I record this, without any tax credits, incentives, etc., the cheapest anybody can get into a Tesla Cybertruck is $69,990. Keeping in mind, though, that is for the long range with 354 miles of range. If you don't have 70 grand to spend, though, you ain't buying a Cybertruck. Some important context, though. 2019, when Tesla unveils their intended specs and pricing, versus 2025, this is the US inflation calculator. We've seen over 25% inflation since then, meaning a $40,000 starting price then is more than $50,000 inflation adjusted today. So just keep that in mind. Regardless though, Tesla didn't quite get there with pricing, and this is a big issue for sales. World's best-selling vehicle, Model Y, long range, mid-40,000s. And again, the world's best-selling vehicle. Entry-level Cybertruck today, more than 50% higher in terms of purchase price. I think we can wrap in a sec, guys. This is the entire story. We're looking at this from ARK Invest, vehicle price versus addressable market. This is based on reality. These aren't assumptions or projections. This is not hypothetical. This is based on actual vehicle prices and the addressable revenue share of the global vehicle market. What we're looking at here, vehicles priced $100,000-ish, 90, 80, 75,000 US dollars, not even 1% of the global vehicle market by revenue share. Once we get to 50,000 US dollars, if you're lucky, you're talking about maybe 3-ish percent. And as we know, Cybertruck is around here, within the reach maybe of 1 or so percent, if you're lucky, of consumers looking to purchase a vehicle. And what do you fucking know? Somewhere around that 40,000 US dollar mark, maybe a little bit lower, suddenly we start to approach almost 4-5%. And then out of nowhere, mid 30,000s to low 30,000s, suddenly total addressable market goes vertical. This is an illustration of the exponential increase a minor decrease in purchase price makes. Roughly here is the $40,000 mark. And by the way, side note, Model Y, the world's best-selling vehicle at roughly this price point. This is roughly where Tesla was intending for Cybertruck to begin for purchase price. Lower specs, less range, blah, blah, blah. But that's what they were aiming for. And had they got here, I don't think this CNBS video would exist. For a vehicle to do world-changingly big numbers in terms of unit sales per year, you've got to be starting in that 40,000 US dollar price point or less. Doesn't matter how good the specs, the features, the functionality, does not matter. If people can't afford it, they can't and won't buy it. And just finally, speaking of not buying vehicles, Tesla's Robotaxi fleet is now scaling rapidly and widely. Many consumers a few years from now are going to laugh at the idea of a personally owned vehicle. Why the fuck would I drop 30, 40, 50,000 US dollars to buy a vehicle when for a fraction that cost, I can use a much safer, much more convenient, no garage necessary Robotaxi whenever I want to? Food for thought. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.